Have you ever found yourself thinking about how to truly make the most of your life after retirement? Or wondered what steps you can take to ensure you age gracefully, with dignity, independence, and vitality? If you're in your 50s or 60s, the decisions you make today will shape the next chapter of your life. They can have a profound effect on your health, happiness, and finances in the years to come. But here's the reality. Many people miss out on fully enjoying their golden years simply because they make the wrong choices or continue clinging to outdated beliefs about aging. As we navigate the journey into our later years, it's vital to understand that aging is not something to fear, but rather an opportunity to reinvent and reclaim a life that's rich with meaning, health, and independence. Many of us get stuck in the mindset that retirement is a time of decline or limitation. The truth is that retirement can be the most fulfilling time of your life if you embrace it with the right mindset. In today's video, we're going to explore the 5 most important factors that will shape the quality of your life as you grow older. These are not just things you can think about when you hit your 60s or 70s. They're the choices you can start making right now. We'll dive deep into topics like how to manage your assets wisely, how to find true contentment by not comparing yourself to others, and how to understand the health habits that will keep you strong, independent, and living life on your terms. One of the things we'll talk about is how to protect your finances without overburdening your children. Many people worry about leaving an inheritance, but it's equally important to ensure that you're enjoying your life today. We'll also talk about why muscle mass becomes your best friend after the age of 60. Trust me, it's not just about looking good. It's about maintaining your mobility, strength, and independence in your later years. But that's not all. We're also going to address something a lot of people fear: the idea of living alone as they get older. I'll share how to find joy and self-sufficiency even if you live alone, and why embracing solitude is actually a powerful tool for building a fulfilling life. We'll also discuss how to shift your focus from losing weight to focusing on building strength, which is key to maintaining good health and vitality as you age. Stick with me until the end, because I'll be sharing life-changing wisdom that will not only help you live a fulfilling life right now, but also give you the tools you need to stay independent, healthy, and happy for many years to come. So grab a seat, relax, and let's dive into these essential life lessons. Before we jump in, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, I highly recommend you do so now and click the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Your support means so much to me. If you find value in today's video, you can help spread these important lessons by liking and sharing them with others who could benefit. If you like the topic we're discussing today, please drop a 1 in the comments below. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make even better videos for you. Now, let's get started. The first important factor is asset management. One of the most crucial elements of a fulfilling retirement is managing your assets wisely. After you retire, when your regular income from a job or career stops, you will need to rely on your savings and assets to cover your living expenses. This might be a big shift, especially if you've spent decades building up a nest egg for the future. But the reality is that many retirees struggle with how to balance using their assets for a comfortable life today, while also thinking about leaving something behind for their children. Maybe you've thought about joining programs where you can use your home as collateral to receive a monthly pension. This is an option many retirees consider, but it can feel difficult to even think about parting with a family home that you've worked so hard to pay off. The idea of leaving something valuable behind for your children can make you hesitate to make that decision. Perhaps you envision passing down the house as a legacy, something that your children can cherish long after you're gone. However, the truth is, if you're fortunate enough to live into your later years, it's important to ask yourself, are you truly enjoying your life to the fullest, or are you holding on to assets out of fear of not leaving something behind? Think about it like this. Would you rather eat all the fruits on the tree and enjoy every last bite, or let them rot on the ground while you worry about tomorrow? By holding on to your wealth for the sake of future generations, you could miss out on the opportunity to experience everything life has to offer. Take Susan, for example. Susan is a retired teacher in her mid-70s living in Charleston, South Carolina. She spent decades in a small, quaint house that she bought with her late husband. For years, she was determined to leave it to her children, her son, Kyle, and daughter, Emma, when she passed away. But as she entered her 70s, Susan realized something important. She hadn't been living the life she always dreamed of. She was living on a fixed income, too scared to touch her savings for fear of not having enough left for her children when she was gone. It wasn't until a friend mentioned the possibility of using her home as part of a reverse mortgage program that Susan began to see things differently. She began to think of her assets not as something to pass down, but as something to live with while she still could. With that in mind, she decided to use her savings and her home's equity to fund a few trips she had always wanted to take. Trips she would have never considered before, out of fear of wasting her money. She visited the Grand Canyon, went on a Mediterranean cruise, and even spent a summer in Europe. And you know what? Susan doesn't regret it one bit. She realized that leaving a legacy isn't just about money or property. It's about the experiences you gather and the joy you bring to your own life. Of course, I know what you're thinking. What if you live longer than expected? What if you pass away before you've spent all your assets? It's a concern that many people share when considering whether to dip into their savings or investments. After all, what if you use your assets for today's enjoyment, only to find yourself in need later on? It's understandable to feel conflicted. But here's the thing. Using your assets isn't wasteful. It's a way of making the most out of the time you have. Life isn't just about accumulating wealth. It's about living in a way that brings meaning, enjoyment, and fulfillment. Think about it this way. Wouldn't you rather use your wealth to ensure you're living comfortably now, rather than just hoarding it for the unknown future? Many people, when they release their attachment to leaving behind an inheritance, find that they can live much more comfortably and happily, all while ensuring their basic needs are met in later years. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. What's the most important gift you can give yourself? It's not about leaving behind money or property for your children. It's about making the most of the life you've built. By using your assets wisely, you can live your retirement years with a sense of freedom and peace, knowing that you've truly enjoyed everything that you've worked so hard for. While you're still healthy and mobile, now is the time to let go of the worry about what will be left behind. Yes, your assets are important, but they're meant to enrich your life, not to become a burden that increases your stress. You've worked long and hard for what you have. Why not use it to live a fulfilling, joyous life, instead of holding on to it out of fear or guilt? The choice to live comfortably and enjoy your retirement years is one of the best decisions you can make. Use your resources wisely, yes, but also take the time to enjoy your final chapters in a way that feels right for you. The last thing you want is to let your wealth become a source of worry, keeping you from the very joy and freedom you deserve. The second important element is not comparing yourself to others. The second key element in living a fulfilling life as you age is learning not to compare yourself to others. It's easy to get caught up in the habit of looking around and measuring your life against the success of those around you. But let me tell you, comparing yourself to others is like driving down a fast highway that leads straight to unhappiness. It's a road that never leads to peace, contentment, or satisfaction. As we enter our 50s and 60s, time until retirement is starting to feel more finite. It's easy to feel the pressure of that ticking clock and begin comparing where you are in life to the people around you. Perhaps you've noticed that some of your friends have bought their dream home, while you're still renting or living in a smaller house. You might wonder what you've achieved in life when you see others posting their new vacations or bragging about their fancy cars on social media. The temptation to compare can be overwhelming. These comparisons are toxic and will only leave you feeling disappointed, dissatisfied, and ungrateful for the life you've built. Maybe you look at your friends who have jobs with generous pensions and regret not making more stable career choices when you have the chance. You might worry about how your smaller savings and pension will stretch in your retirement years. But constantly comparing your journey to others only breeds feelings of inadequacy. It can make you feel like you're not doing enough, or worse, that you're running out of time to catch up to where others are in life. Such thoughts can also lead to rash decisions. In an attempt to make up for what you perceive as lost time, you might be tempted to make risky investments or dive into business ventures that aren't right for you. Sure, we live in an age of technological advancements and longer life expectancies due to modern medicine, but it's also important to recognize that your 50s represent the beginning of a different season in life. One that isn't about planting new seeds, but about harvesting the fruits of the decisions you've already made. Life, like the seasons, has its time for growth and its time for reaping. That doesn't mean you can't still try new things or take on challenges in your 50s. Of course, you can. But you must acknowledge that with fewer years to recover from failures, the risks you take need to be more thoughtful, more aligned with your goals, and more within your capabilities. It's not the time to try to make up for what you've missed by overextending yourself in areas you're not familiar with. What matters as you age is focusing on the things that will bring you peace and satisfaction, and not falling into the trap of comparing yourself to others. The reality is that your health, your relationships, and your well-being are the true treasures of life, and they aren't always reflected in material success. Sure, money is important, and yes, good health is a blessing, but these things don't define your worth. What truly matters is being able to look at your life and be proud of what you've accomplished, regardless of how it compares to someone else's journey. When you hit your 50s, the societal pressure to be successful by conventional standards can be strong. It's easy to feel like you should have more by now. More money, a bigger house, or a more exciting career. But the most important thing you can do for yourself is to stop letting others define your success. Happiness isn't found in having more than the next person. It's found in being content with where you are and what you have. Take a moment to think about the things that truly matter. Do you have your health? A loving family? Friends who care about you? These are the things that make life meaningful. A large home or a hefty pension doesn't guarantee happiness. It's the simple things, the connections you've nurtured and the life you've built, that make all the difference. Let's say you're like Alex, a 58-year-old marketing executive in Seattle, who has spent much of his life feeling like he wasn't doing enough. His friends have started retiring early, enjoying vacations, or relocating to luxury homes. Alex, on the other hand, is still grinding away at work, wondering when his time will come. He'd feel discouraged, thinking that maybe he hadn't saved enough or taken the right career steps. But one day, as he sat on his porch, looking out at the lake he had always dreamed of owning, he realized something important. He had a loving wife, 2 healthy children, and enough savings to live comfortably for many years. What he realized was that the things he had been comparing himself to were simply material, and his real blessings, his family, health, and life experiences, were worth far more than any material possession. It's stories like Alex's that remind us that happiness doesn't lie in comparing ourselves to others, but in embracing the life we've built and finding contentment in it. As you grow older, it's crucial to focus on what you do have, rather than what you don't. You don't need a big house or an overflowing bank account to be fulfilled. If you have good health, a supportive family, and the freedom to live life on your terms, then you are already successful. So, as you look forward to the next chapter of your life, commit to stop comparing yourself to others. Your worth is not determined by what anyone else is doing, but by how you live your own life and how you make peace with where you are. Choose to be grateful for what you've accomplished, because, in the end, that's where true happiness lies. The third important factor that determines the quality of life in old age is the need to not worry about having no friends. As we grow older, many people begin to worry about being alone. The fear of loneliness can become a major concern, and it's easy to believe that to feel fulfilled, you need to be surrounded by others constantly. Some people may feel an overwhelming desire to always be in the company of others, searching for connection and companionship wherever they can find it. But here's the thing, even in the company of others, especially in shallow or surface-level relationships, your heart can still feel empty. You can be surrounded by people and still feel utterly alone. This longing for connection can often intensify the feeling of loneliness. It's like trying to fill an empty room with noise, but the emptiness remains. Many times, we think that by just being around people, our loneliness will be solved. But the truth is, the more we chase after others to fill that gap, the deeper the sense of isolation becomes. The connection you're seeking isn't necessarily found in the quantity of relationships, but in the quality of your connection with yourself and the world around you. Take Margaret, a retired school teacher from Chicago, as an example. Margaret spent many of her younger years focused on her career and raising her family. After retirement, she found herself living alone after her children moved out of state, and at first, she struggled with the silence of her home. She spent months longing for the companionship of others, attending community events, and seeking friendships. But the more she filled her calendar with activities and engagements, the lonelier she felt. It wasn't until one evening, when she was curled up with a book and a cup of tea, that Margaret realized something profound. She had everything she needed within herself. She didn't need to constantly seek outside validation to feel fulfilled. Margaret's realization came when she stopped looking outward for approval and started embracing the peace and solitude of her own company. When you stop waiting for someone else to complete you, you begin to realize that the sense of loneliness you feel can be transformed into a deeper connection with yourself. This shift in perspective can be incredibly empowering. By learning to enjoy your own company and reflect on your thoughts and emotions, loneliness gradually loses its grip. Instead of feeling like something is missing, you begin to feel a sense of wholeness. What's more, this inner peace boosts your self-esteem and sense of self-worth. When you're no longer seeking constant validation or approval from others, you grow more independent and self-reliant. The need for external affirmation starts to fade, and what remains is a confident, grounded sense of who you are. The emotional safety net you build for yourself by cultivating self-love and acceptance is far stronger than any relationship can provide. It's like having a sturdy foundation that keeps you steady no matter what life throws your way. Let's take a look at someone like Jane, who lived in a small town in Oregon. Jane had always been a social butterfly in her younger years, surrounded by friends and family. But as time went on, Jane's circle of friends shrank, and she found herself spending more time at home alone. Initially, this shift left her feeling unmoored, like something essential was missing from her life. She attempted to fill that void by reaching out to old acquaintances or attending events just to be in the company of others. But the more she did this, the more she realized that those connections weren't fulfilling her. Instead of deeper relationships, she found herself tangled in superficial conversations that left her feeling exhausted. Eventually, Jane came to understand that the key to overcoming loneliness wasn't in seeking out others to fill the void, but in building a stronger connection with herself. She began to spend more time doing things she enjoyed, like gardening, reading, and taking long walks by the lake. Over time, she realized that the small social interactions she had, like chatting with the barista at her local coffee shop or saying hello to her neighbors, were more than enough. These everyday moments kept her connected to the world without the pressure of maintaining deep, emotionally draining relationships. The lesson here is that as we age, we don't need complex relationships or a wide circle of friends to feel fulfilled. What matters is the quality of the relationships you have and the connections you create with the people around you. It's the small, meaningful interactions that make a big difference, like smiling at someone on your morning walk or sharing a laugh with a neighbor while you tend to your garden. These small connections weave us into the fabric of society and make our daily lives feel richer and more purposeful. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you need a busy social calendar or a big group of friends to be happy. But the reality is, you don't need to fill your life with empty interactions to avoid loneliness. Learning to love yourself and embrace solitude is one of the most valuable skills you can develop as you grow older. When you find peace within yourself, you can live a full, joyful life, whether or not you're surrounded by people. Take a moment to reflect on this. If you find yourself living alone, it doesn't mean you're lonely. Loneliness is a feeling that arises when we resist being by ourselves, but when you learn to be present with yourself, it can be one of the most peaceful and rewarding experiences. you'll discover that the most important relationship you have is the one you build with yourself. The fourth important factor is letting go of excessive attachment to your children to live a happy life for both sides. One of the toughest but most important lessons we can learn as we age is letting go of the excessive attachment to wealth and the desire to leave it all to our children. This attachment can be a heavy burden, not just on you, but also on your relationship with your children. There's an old, somewhat eerie joke that illustrates 3 situations in which children unintentionally push their parents to an early death. The first situation is when parents refuse their children's financial requests, resulting in their children resenting them and the parents dying alone. The second scenario is when parents give their children money bit by bit, but it only leads to trouble, as the parents suffer from financial strain in their later years. The third, perhaps the most tragic, is when parents give all their wealth to their children, leaving themselves in poverty and dying in destitution. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. This joke may seem dark, but it reflects a harsh reality. Excessive attachment to wealth and the overwhelming desire to pass it all down to our children can have detrimental effects. The pressure to leave behind an inheritance, and the expectation from children that they will inherit it, often leads to strain, resentment, and dissatisfaction on both sides. The truth is that this kind of attachment can create more harm than good. It puts unnecessary stress on the parent-child relationship and can create emotional baggage that lasts for generations. One of the most important things to understand as you age is that your children don't necessarily need to inherit your wealth to feel loved or to live fulfilling lives. Often, the expectation of leaving a large inheritance is rooted in a desire to take care of our children. But in reality, it's much more beneficial for them to learn how to manage their finances and become financially independent, rather than relying on what you may leave behind. Take the case of Barbara and Jack, a couple from San Diego. Both in their early 70s, they had always worked hard to provide for their children, ensuring that they could go to college, buy homes, and set up comfortable lives for themselves. However, Barbara and Jack were conflicted about whether to pass down the rest of their savings to their children when they passed away. After much contemplation, they realized that their children were already well established in their careers and families. They didn't need their inheritance to survive or thrive. What they needed, Barbara and Jack concluded, was for their children to learn how to stand on their own 2 feet, just as they had done in their youth. Barbara and Jack decided to take a different approach. Rather than continuing to provide financial support indefinitely, they decided to set clear boundaries with their children, helping them learn how to be financially self-sufficient. They shifted their focus to helping their children with life skills, teaching them how to manage their finances, handle challenges independently, and build their futures. This wasn't about abandoning their children. It was about empowering them to live full and independent lives. By stopping the flow of constant financial help, Barbara and Jack gave their children the space to become strong, self-reliant individuals. In addition to helping their children achieve independence, Barbara and Jack also made an important decision for themselves. They chose to convert their wealth into a pension, which would cover their living expenses in retirement. This would allow them to maintain their financial independence and avoid burdening their children with caregiving or financial concerns later in life. They opted for smaller, monthly pension payments rather than a lump sum, which ensured that they could continue to enjoy a comfortable lifestyle without running out of money. The pension system would support them in their old age, and by doing so, they wouldn't have to dip into their children's pockets or rely on them to care for them. Barbara and Jack's story highlights the importance of rethinking the traditional notion of leaving wealth behind. It's not about providing a large inheritance. It's about teaching your children the skills they need to manage their own lives and finances. The most valuable gift a parent can give their children is the ability to live independently, to take responsibility for their own decisions, and to find fulfillment without leaning on others. By fostering independence in your children, you help them lead their own lives confidently, without the emotional burden of feeling like they are entitled to your wealth. One of the key lessons here is that excessive protection can bring unhappiness, not only to parents but to their children as well. If you constantly shield your children from financial hardship or responsibility, you may inadvertently prevent them from growing into independent, capable adults. When parents become overly involved in their children's finances, it can create a cycle of dependency. And when that dependency is suddenly cut off, it can lead to feelings of betrayal, guilt, and resentment on both sides. It's important to set clear boundaries when it comes to financial support and to make sure your children understand that they must take responsibility for their own financial future. Financial help should have a clear end date, such as supporting children until they graduate from college or until they are married. After that, the goal is to help them stand on their own, without relying on their parents for financial security. Ultimately, your children will be better off if they learn to manage their own money and live responsibly. And you, as a parent, will enjoy a more fulfilling life if you free yourself from the burden of worrying about leaving an inheritance. The key to living a happy, healthy life as you age is ensuring that you maintain your independence while also helping your children find theirs. It's about finding balance, taking care of your own needs, enjoying your life, and giving your children the tools they need to live confidently and independently. The fifth important element that determines the quality of life in old age is letting go of the belief that you must lose weight. As we reach the milestone of 60, the idea of maintaining a healthy body becomes more important than ever. We've crossed the threshold of middle age, and the natural biological changes in our bodies become more apparent. For many, this is the time when the focus shifts to preventing health issues that can arise with aging, like diabetes, obesity, and metabolic disorders. However, there's an often overlooked aspect of aging that should be our top priority: maintaining muscle mass. When we're younger, our bodies naturally maintain muscle mass without much effort. But as we age, muscle mass begins to decline gradually. This process, known as sarcopenia, is something that becomes especially noticeable as we enter our 60s and beyond. If we don't make a conscious effort to preserve or even improve our muscle strength, it can lead to a range of health problems that impact our daily lives. What's more, as we get older, our appetite naturally decreases, which can make it more difficult to provide our bodies with the nutrients they need. This can lead not only to malnutrition but also to significant muscle loss. Many people think of weight loss as a positive thing, especially in today's society, where slimming down is often viewed as the ultimate goal for good health. But after the age of 60, this mindset can be dangerous. Losing weight in the form of muscle mass rather than fat can be harmful. When the body loses muscle, overall functionality declines, making simple tasks like walking, getting out of a chair, or even carrying groceries more difficult. As muscle mass diminishes, frailty sets in, and in many cases, people begin to rely on assistance for daily activities. This doesn't have to be your reality, though. If you know how to adjust your mindset and your approach to health as you age, you can not only prevent muscle loss but also build strength and maintain independence well into your later years. Let's take Frank, for example. Frank is 72 and still lives independently in a small town in Florida. He loves to travel, take walks on the beach, and enjoy time with his grandchildren. However, a few years ago, he began noticing that he was struggling to keep up with the activities he once enjoyed. Climbing stairs became more difficult, and carrying groceries seemed like a challenge. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Instead of accepting this as a normal part of aging, Frank decided to take action. He shifted his focus from trying to lose weight to working on strengthening his muscles. With the help of a physical therapist, he started incorporating strength training exercises into his routine. Simple activities like walking, squats, and leg presses helped him gradually build muscle, and over time, Frank regained his ability to do the things he loved, without the need for assistance. At 72, he still travels frequently and enjoys a life filled with mobility and independence. The key to aging gracefully is understanding that weight loss is not the goal. It's about preserving and building muscle to prevent frailty and maintain overall health. Muscle mass plays a crucial role in our health, especially as we get older. It's not just about how we look, it's about how we function. Strong muscles are vital for our independence, mobility, and overall well-being in our later years. One simple yet effective way to check if you're losing muscle is by performing a simple test. Make a circle with your thumb and index finger and wrap it around the thickest part of your upper arm. If your fingers don't touch or overlap, your muscle condition is in good shape. However, if your fingers touch or overlap, it may indicate muscle weakness, and it's time to focus on strengthening exercises. After 60, another critical area to focus on is the strength of your legs. Your legs are not only your primary means of movement but also a symbol of your autonomy. When your legs are strong, you can walk with ease, climb stairs without assistance, and remain confident and self-sufficient in your daily life. As we age, strong legs become essential for maintaining both physical health and mental well-being. Regular leg training is essential to keep them strong. But don't worry, you don't have to sign up for intense workouts at the gym. Even simple activities, like walking, light cycling, or stretching exercises, can have a profound impact on maintaining leg strength. Additionally, it's important to ensure that your diet supports muscle health. Protein is a key nutrient for building and maintaining muscle mass, so it's crucial to include enough protein in your meals. Whether it's lean meats, fish, eggs, legumes, or plant-based protein sources, ensuring that you're getting enough protein will support muscle growth and help you stay strong and healthy. When it comes to aging, focusing on muscle maintenance rather than weight loss can be a game changer. You don't have to sacrifice your strength or independence in your later years. Instead, you can enjoy a lifestyle that allows you to live independently, stay active, and experience all the joys of life, without the need for constant assistance or care. By shifting the focus to muscle health, you're making a decision that will not only benefit you now but will also help you remain active, vibrant, and independent for many years to come. As we wrap up today's video, I hope you found these insights valuable in helping you navigate the later stages of life with independence, strength, and joy. We've covered some crucial topics today, from managing your assets wisely to understanding the importance of muscle maintenance and embracing solitude with peace. These are all things that can truly transform the way you experience aging. So, what have you learned so far? What resonated with you the most? I'd love to hear about it. Take a moment to reflect on one thing you've learned today and how you plan to bring it into your life. Is it focusing on building strength instead of worrying about weight loss? Or maybe it's learning to embrace solitude and enjoying your own company. Whatever it is, let us know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please leave your comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on more videos like this. Your support means a lot to us, and we want to continue bringing you more tips and insights that can help you live your best life at any age. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.